Hi guys, welcome back to the Daily Dreamer. Thanks so very much for coming and hanging out with me, sharing a dream or two. I'll tell you, the past couple days I've been having these really odd dreams, and to meditate on these dreams, I always come up with something really interesting. Let me tell you, last night I had this dream. I was a waitress. First of all, I don't even know why I would ever dream to be a waitress in my dreams because I can't stand food, let alone be around it. The only thing I could think of was maybe service to others, but nonetheless, I had this dream. I was being a waitress and I was serving others, but there were entities, souls, people in the background, and these people were trying to hem me up, if you will. They were messing up my orders. They were tripping me up. They would give me the wrong orders. They would do anything to actually sabotage the end result for the customer in the dreams. So I was quite frustrated. I went through my shift and I had to deal with this, and I kept, scolding them and telling them knock it off, but they just thought it was fun. And maybe that's what I should have done, was treat it as a fun thing, but I was kind of serious about it. Nonetheless, the end of the shift comes and we are getting off work and we go to leave. And when we go to leave, instead of just walking out to like a normal parking lot, we end up walking out and having to go through some terrain that is rocky, filled with greenery, shrubbery, as though you were going through like a forest or something, where you had to duck down, you had to, kind of work your way through. And I was frustrated because they were all ahead of me. There were some in back of me, but the ones ahead of me were laughing and, kind of teasing me as though they didn't think I was going to be able to get through the greenery. They were right. They had it rigged to where they could get through, but I couldn't. I couldn't quite find my way. There was a gentleman who actually stopped, came back, and said, "Come on, I'll help you." Well, as he went to go help me, just show me where the hole was to be able to get through the terrain, someone from behind pushed me. And when they pushed me, I heard the giggling, and I looked back up, and they're just carrying on with their mischievous ways, not paying any mind to the fact that they might have hurt me, but that's okay. The gentleman that was waiting for me just kind of smiled and just put his hand out. I could not get through the terrain at that point, so I went ahead and manifested myself on the other side. When I went to the other side, there they all were, sitting there giggling, playing like little children's games, with little pop guns and little caps that you pull and the little confetti comes out. They were just being totally mischievous. But off in the distance, I could see nothing but like this black hole type. And it had a very deep, dark presence, a deep, dark feeling, of which I chose at that point to go ahead and separate from the group. And they continued on that way, and I went my separate way. And when I went my separate way at that point, then it was a whole different dream that manifested itself for me. That particular dream had nothing to do with this other dream. I ended up getting whisked back to consciousness and kind of a little disheveled about what that dream could have meant. So what happens? I wake up and I go into a meditative state to get some sort of answers as to what these dreams may mean. What do you think came up for me? Let's go find out, shall we? There are those in our world that are labeled good people, bad people, light workers, dark workers, all kinds of labels we have going on. And there are plenty of people in this world that have chosen to live through the darkness, have gone through the darkness, and they choose that path. They choose the dark side. Those dark souls, if you will, they have sunken so low on a frequency level that they're not able, their hearts are not able to perceive the love and the light that is currently going on through the planet right now. It would be so easy for all of us to go ahead and fear these people, these dark entities that are here, dark souls, dark people. It would be very easy for us to fear and condemn and judge them and get angry at it all. But what if we chose to go a different route with it? One of a higher perspective, a higher way, if you will. Until recently, the frequency right now of the planet Earth and of people, the collective consciousness of humanity, has been dropping. It's been dropping lower and lower and lower. and manifesting a very dark reality. But that's just up until recently. There have been many people in our world right now that live in this negative path. They have chosen it. They are manifesting the hatred and the fear, and they feel very justified in doing so. These people that choose to reside on the negative path, they fall into two categories. There are those that have become mesmerized by their ability to control others, and they have this false sense of power, of self-importance that it gives them. I don't know why. But there are those that feel wronged by those people and who feel justified in lashing out as a result. And that's not good either. In this realm, it actually does take a lot of wisdom for the rest of us to not react with fear and judgment. It does take wisdom for us not to lash out at people. Unfortunately, we can see that wisdom is in relatively short supply. Well, the state of the world sadly reflects this. Up until recently, though, a momentous change has happened. And those that reside in that lower density, they're scared. You want to know why they're scared? Because even though their hearts and their minds cannot see the love and the changes that are occurring, they can sense it. And they may be afraid because their way of life might be ending soon. Their fear of that ending soon is understandable, because I think they're realizing that if they don't change, they're not going to transition into a higher state of awareness. You know, the fifth dimensional earth, as they say. And the probable timelines for those that reside in the 3D earth, that lower realm, things look extremely bleak. Let's just put it that way. So let's start by changing the outlook of it all. Maybe we should not call them dark, negative people. Maybe we should just call them lost souls. Or maybe we shouldn't call them anything but just lower dimensional beings, so that we don't attach the labels or the judgments. Those that live on a negative path, well, they are just souls like we are. They came into this physical body and they dove right into the earth game for the same reasons as we did, to know and to grow through concrete physical experience, so that they can take that back to the collective consciousness. Our souls, though, are much wiser and loving. And what gets expressed by us here in the physical plane on earth, our minds always seem to get in the way. Our egos always get in the way. And our soul is an aspect of our higher selves, the Christ self, the God self, who is very wise, very knowledgeable, very loving. As a part of the balanced evolution of our souls, we have all, each and every one of us have played the dark and light roles in our lives to some extent. There aren't many souls, or aren't any souls to be exact, who have not explored the dark side to some extent. We've all been there. It's only here in the physical planes that we play and get dirty and get real with it. Remember that you are here playing in the dirt, earth, if you will, and it isn't the real you. The real you is your soul, your higher self. The point here is that there aren't really any bad people. That's just a label we use, a definition, if you will, because, well, we always have limited perspectives in our eyes. Some souls choose to hold power and control over others in this design of this life plan. Others have just really lost their way in this life. Those that choose to control others, they did so that they can learn that experience for themselves and for others. For themselves, it's an opportunity to learn about the misuse of power. And then for others, it's an opportunity to learn about not giving away one's power. It's also an opportunity to go ahead and explore how we respond to negative people, to learn about the various modes of response. How do you respond when something bad happens to you or around you? Do you get angry? Do you get frustrated? Do you lash out? Do you react? That's an egotistical thing to do, isn't it? I mean, do you respond with fear, judgment? Do you respond with retribution? Or maybe, just maybe, if you take that deep breath, are you able to respond with forgiveness, understanding, compassion? And which way works better in the long run? It is the journey from the dark to the light that makes us appreciate what we are. We are the light. And embracing this higher perspective, well, it can free us from the response of fear, condemnation, retribution. And it actually may just enable us to create a better reality for ourselves if we choose to go that route. Those on the negative path, they've had experiences and they've made choices that have closed their heart to the light of their soul and the source. But that's their choice. That's what they want to do. They allow their egos to rule their minds. They cannot feel the love and the light. They can't hear the inner voice of their soul, and they can't hear their inner selves. Are you one of those people? These people just simply cannot realize that they are love and light. And then at that point, because they're not able to recognize it, they live in this world of separation, in fear, and in hate. And it is very tempting to judge these people. But this is where we need to tread very carefully. Because whether or not we know it, we have all been in the same similar circumstances. And we don't like when people judge us, so why are we judging others? We've made similar choices and we've had to face that. We've lost our way down the negative path. We've all done it. At some point in our lives, though, some of us have chosen to waken up. Some of us have come back around. Some of us found ourselves again. It is very easy to judge others to judge their choices without understanding, or as they say, walking in their shoes, if you will. Most believe that if they were in other people's shoes, they would not have made the same choices, but you can't say that because we are judging them and their choices from the context of our own experiences, not theirs. And that's where you need to tread carefully. Dealing with the negative, hateful person, there are challenges indeed. For instance, one of the very first challenges in dealing with these negative people is that to all of those who have contributed to the fear and the hate in reality, it would be nice for them to be on the receiving end so that they can go ahead and see how it affected everybody else that they hurt. That would be a great challenge for all of us to be able to get those people to see. As the Earth's frequency approaches higher and higher into that higher dimensional realm, everyone's manifestations are going to be quickened if they're not already. And anyone that is sending out fear, hate, negativity, or harmful thoughts, they're going to immediately see that experience come right back in a very similar and very challenging manifestation in their personal reality. So rest assured, it will come back around. That's why you don't need to judge, because it will take care of itself. This is how our reality works, folks. Reality is a reflection of our thoughts, an inner state of mind. And that is why this reality is the most marvelous training program ever, because it will either force you to change your ways or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then you know what's going to happen. The process more than likely will end up nudging most of us from a negative mindset to a very positive one, because some of us are just tired of the negativity. Once they've had enough of their own negative coming back to them, it'll probably more than likely change them. Then again, it may not. And maybe it'll take more incarnations for these people to figure it out. You know, it's like my mom always used to say, You need a bat upside your head for you to realize it. Well, maybe those are some people that are waiting for that bat to happen. Anyways, as they begin to realize that their ways have hurt so many others, now it's a challenge to see if they're able to learn to forgive themselves. That can go two ways too. When they realize what they've done, are they going to end up hating themselves? Are they going to stay stuck in the lower frequency because of it? Or maybe they'll actually be able to forgive themselves for the pain that they've caused to everybody else. Maybe they will be able to lift their vibrations because they do see what damage it's done. Can you conceive of the unconditional forgiveness and love towards these people as well as the victims? That's a very big hurdle for many of us to get over. What if those who have defined themselves as bad were able to release their programming and accept the light of unconditional love so that they could unconditionally forgive and accept themselves? That would be a great day, wouldn't it? What if we could release our perception of others and our judgments about the fact that some people are just inherently good or bad? I mean, what if we were able to do that? What if the good people realized that they are just people who have remembered their higher selves and that the source of their beingness is all light and love? What if we could teach these to these people? What if we shared our light and our love with all the people that we have formally labeled as bad? If they can forgive and love themselves, they will be able to join the great transmutation and ascension that is currently playing out right now. And that would be a beautiful thing, because then everybody would raise their frequency and we'd all be on the same page. That's a great hope to keep, right? No one is too dark to be forgiven or too fearful to live in love. We can help these people find the light. We can help them rediscover their true selves. We just have to be able to be strong and not react. We have to be able to forgive them. And you should be able to, because you've been able to forgive yourself for the times that you went down that dark path. By shining our light and our love towards these negative people, by extending forgiveness, by extending the compassion to these people, they start to see the light. We can help them get over that hump of forgiving and loving themselves. And then they'll join us in creating a new reality, a new earth for everybody. We are all one, folks. We all have the ability to create a wonderful new reality with our unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, and the power of our own light. We don't have to stay stuck in fear. Remember, folks, what Yoda said. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. And hate leads to suffering. Haven't we all suffered enough? Our choices will define our destiny. Are we ready to choose compassion and forgiveness? Or do we still really want to reside in fear and judgment? I think we've all suffered enough. So those of us that are seeing people go down that negative path, those lost souls, find it in your heart to find compassion for these people. Help them through the hurdle. We can make this a better reality for ourselves. Folks, thanks so much for joining me for the Daily Dreamer. Until next dream, many blessings.